we have her here as the image of women on royalty. And as you know, there are some wars that men cannot carry alone. And then those war requires the strength of a woman. And that is why her position is necessitated. I didn't know if I've answered your question.
Absolutely. You have answered it. Thank you so much for that. All right. Now I come back to you, Princess. Um, Before you were explaining to me about the mining activity in your place, so you were like sort of going back to sort of lay the background on the story. I don't know if you want to continue from there. I think it's very important because, like I said, this is an important argument relating to how to be able to create income within the local community. We need to benefit from our land and we need to benefit from what we know. Please go ahead.
All right. No, I was just explaining that years ago, I was then called by one kingdom, which is called Mampuru Kingdom. And I was employed there. I've worked there as a CEO for 5 years. And the reason I was called, it was because where the kingdom is and situated, it's surrounded by 19 mines with less than 10-kilometer radius apart. But that kingdom was the most poorest kingdom ever you can think of. So when they called, they were then asking for assistance from me that how can they best get the mines into employing their youth and also into making sure that they come out of poverty. And when I started working, I had this whole energy of saying, you know what, we are with the rights of the DMR, meaning the Department of Minerals in South Africa. These mines, they have full responsibility to take care of these people. But along the conversations and along the time being wasted sitting on boardrooms every time, these people were still dying in poverty. So that is when it actually started to say, let us check what do we have in the land that we can then try and work on it so that it alleviates the poverty and we build whatever that we can build and the generational wealth out of it. And we successfully designed a city called Mampuru City from that because the land was there, it was available. It was just a matter of how do we put our heads together into making sure that this land it can be changed and be commercialized and be residential as well. We can have build factories on the same land and still create our own jobs from the same land. Although I left after doing the whole master plan, but it's something that now the community knows that for them it's not only just to depend or rely on the government or the mines that are nearby, but with their land, they can do so much. They can focus on agriculture. That land, because there's a mining area industry around, it's not easy for you to do farming for food. But then we then discovered that if they can start to do cotton, they can be the biggest exporter of cotton in South Africa. So that is when now the different villages started to engage and asking for my help. That is how then I went to different kingdoms into teaching them of using and utilizing their own land in order for them to survive.
Thank you so much for that, Princess. I don't know if His Royal Highness want to say something to the effect of the value of generating wealth, generating money within local community. Because now, okay, we are talking of this small part in South Africa, but this can actually comfortably be enlarged to other parts of Africa where we have some of these challenges, where there are resources in the land, these resources are tapped, but the local people never benefit from it. So now these local people are suffering and they need a solution. You know, a good example would be in the Niger Delta of Nigeria, where the oil is being explored, but the people are in poverty and the resources is rich. But that is sort of a kind of irony in that you cannot be living in the water and you are dying of thirst. So I don't know if you want to say anything about that.
Absolutely. I will rather say at this juncture that what Princess have started or crafted for the local community or communities is recommendable because these days, a kingdom existing without money has no power. I have often said in my previous interviews that in Africa, the problem we have is that those who have the brain has no money, and those who has money have no brain. But if you have money and brain together, then it becomes formidable. And when it becomes formidable, you anchor these two elements. Then it means that what you are chasing and what you wish to achieve will be expedited. So in this regard, I will ask the princess to replicate these same ideas in different kingdoms as we will be visiting very soon. We are actually going to carry out a familiarization visit, an intro visit to several African kingdoms with the Princess of Africa very soon. In that process, I would encourage her. Like, you know, during my time, it was a problem for me to step foot strongly, solidly, because it was the first time that the paramount chief of Africa was created. So I have eased off the road for the princess. At least she has a platform to operate. And the first princess of Africa has done equally. So it is no longer a new mission, but rather it is a trading path that she has to follow. And as she goes with this path, I will always be her backbone. I will always support her to replicate whatever that she has done on the local ground into international levels. Having said that, there are several communities in Africa that are waiting for the arrival of the princess with anticipation of such projects that she is talking about here. Such as I explained also in the previous interview about monetizing in Congo DLC. Monetizing took place already. So some of these projects and processes that we are passing through might be delayed, but not denied. I repeat, might be delayed, but not denied. Due to some of them are new processes that we are injecting into the royal processes, into the royal operational systems. Having said this, I conclude or resolute that in resolution, I am saying that the Princess of Africa should replicate, and I will empower her as much as I can to replicate these ideas in international level because they are recommendable. Asante.